Hello there. Welcome to Basic Binges. This is my first time doing this. Actually, I guess because of what we're celebrating, I should say hello there. We're going to be talking the new TV show Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus. I am going to be hosting for the first time. My name is Kenji. You can call me the Kenjinator. I am joined by my friends Alejandro and Rob. I'm so sorry. I going to butcher the last name pronunciation. It's Alejandro Cowie and
Yes.
Rob Armatys.
Yep.
Awesome. All right.
Nailed
Alrighty. Thank you so much for joining us. Basic Binges. We also are part of the Nom Talk Network, where we like to talk about, the things that we like to eat while talking and eating. We eat the things we like while we talk about the things we like. Wow. Oh, I'm doing so great so far. All right.
You're good.
What are you joining us with, Rob?
I have spicy nacho Doritos and a can of Mountain Dew.
Nice. Dude, I have not had a can of Mountain Dew in a long time. Alejandro, what about you?
Oh man, I got too much junk. So first of all, shameless plug, constant drink of Coca-Cola. We know that's definitely a nutritious drink of mine. I have a slew of tacos over here, all right, from Taco Bell because they're delicious. And I have to definitely insert, I'm not eating my, little pal here, but I'm actually definitely about to crunch on some lovely hot fries, cheese fries, but I'm down. This is a discussion and noms on all this grub, so I'm ready.
Awesome. I am going to be joining you with a bowl of rice with some stuff that my mom got me from Japan. It came in this Demon Slayer thing. It's like eggs and chicken. It's pretty tasty. I don't know. But yeah, I like it. It's pretty good. So yes, we're going to be talking about the Obi-Wan series. So episodes 1 and 2 just dropped last night. And I mean, I don't know. I was having a great time watching the show. I was surprised by a lot of things. The show took some turns I wasn't expecting, and we're going to be talking about those today. So spoiler alert, if anybody who's watching hasn't seen it, definitely click out. Definitely for sure click out.
Just look at the screen. Cover your ears.
Yeah, you just X out. Like don't even forget that you were even on here. Well, I mean, don't forget, because this is also a great podcast. So please follow us on other things. All right. So yeah, let's talk about so what did you guys think, like, with the first 2 episodes that came out? I mean, it is, after all, Star Wars Celebration weekend. Like, what are you guys thinking? Like, the hype is real, isn't it?
I think Disney and Lucas have realized Luke and Obi-Wan cannot be the only 2 cool guys in the room. I think they've come to realize that, hey, if this thing is actually going to last and we're going to really make our ROI on the like $50 or so billion we spent to buy this thing, we need to figure out it needs to be more than these 2 guys. So they're now finally acknowledging that Leia is a Jedi and that she does indeed express powers, and not by a little bit, but by a lot of it. We now get to see that, yeah, Obi-Wan is a beaten man. He is the world's greatest generation of the Star Wars universe that is now dealing with the PTSD of war and the actions that he had to inflict during that war.
Absolutely. Like, I absolutely agree. I think it's a great new take on the character. Alejandro, how do you feel about these first 2 episodes so far? Like, just your first initial take.
Honestly, nostalgia and impressed. The reason why I say this is because my introduction to Star Wars, of course, was going into old school, the original trilogy, right? Fast forward, we come out to when, episode 1, 2, and 3 comes out. And I believe that was like the late 90s, early 2000s. And, here we are coming out in movie theater. And this was my first interaction with the first ever Star Wars that came in. I had mixed emotions about it because we had old school fans that were trashing on it. And then we had new school people coming in saying, what's the big deal? This is actually kind of cool. And honestly, at the time being, I was kind of mixed into it. And regardless, it was Star Wars, memorabilia. I collected the mini Micro Machine, collection sets of snow speeders into Naboo starfighters. And I was like, these are awesome. I love these things. So regardless of what I personally really thought about the movie, it was still hit me in my Star Wars feels. So that being said, coming into Obi-Wan, with that and the slew of other films that have come out in the past, we had, mixed reviews in regards to things coming out in holidays before and pre-pandemics. So seeing this, I was a little nervous. It blew me out of the water, though. They hit old school and new school. They make references that, the fact that like I said, I'm sure we'll touch base later, but the fact that they made references to episode 1, 2, and 3 in the first 10 seconds with, the retired veteran clone, officer that was there. And, asking for it. There's a lot of crazy stuff, in my opinion, that I thought was really well met in the very, very beginning. So definitely in the start of it, I am impressed with it. I liked a heck of a lot more than I expected. Rob, you hit it on the head, man. In regards to fleshing out characters and individuals and who they are, you see the Inquisitors, but not only do you understand that they are Empire and Inquisitors, you want to know all three of them, who they are. I mean, automatically, I just want to like, who are these guys? There's already tension. Why do they want, Obi-Wan so badly? And of course, we understand that everybody wants him. And the fact that Rob, once again, he hit it straight on the head. He is a broken down man. So if you're used to seeing anything from episode 1, 2, 3 or Clone Wars, his character exactly and who he is as an individual is more obviously optimistic. And at this point in life, it is not him. And it's from everything to who you're used to seeing Obi-Wan with, it is definitely an eye opener. That's for sure. So in short, I loved it.
No, you guys are kind of like, I would just be echoing what you guys have already been saying so far. Like, yes, it hit all the nostalgia feels. There's also, brief cameos from, all the Clone Wars fans. Like, there was a little bit of a, I'm assuming it was Captain, it was Rex that was there.
Yeah, that was Rex vibes, in my opinion.
For sure. Like, and
that was their way of itching and saying, hey, how are people going to react when they see this? And is it a good idea if we're going to make a Bad Batch movie live action? Because Lucas wanted to do that back in the day. He's wanted to do a trooper related project, and so is Filoni since during the dang time of freaking episode 3. During the entire production of the animated series, Filoni was constantly like, dude, just give me a shot with this. Let it go. And they're throwing that in there just see what's the audience going to say? What's the audience going to do? They like that? Oh, they like that? Maybe we throw a little bit of money behind this.
No, totally.
I mean, it is for sure. Like, it's great to see that we've already seen, even bits of a Book of Boba Fett. We got a little bit of Cad Bane in there. We've been seeing little nods and glimpses into the Clone Wars series. So the fact that we're seeing even more of this, it's actually great. It's not only so much like it's kind of like it's basically, it is a way kind of like a love letter to all the fans that love it, and it's just subtle enough that it doesn't seem like it's like a shoehorned cameo. It's very brief. I think it's great, but also, like you said, like it is a great way to see these glimpses of these characters. We get like an idea of what it could possibly be. This live action Clone Wars series could possibly be, and like I think they've announced a bunch of other ones that, like, I think there's like Skeleton Crew that was just announced with Jude Law.
With Jude Law. But and Lucasfilm is notorious for this. Why do we know this? Space Rangers. Gina Carano, Space Rangers. Ahsoka Tano, the Ahsoka show. You've got a Rebel show that they're talking about doing with Greg and the other gentleman's name that's just wonderful and amazing. Who they were talking about like some kind of space comedy between the two, where it's like a Cops meets The Office, Space Rangers in space. How stupid and hilarious would that be? Everything is coming off of, hey, we've got The Mandalorian, that's good. Let's throw something in the background of one of these shows, see how people respond. That's good, okay, let's do some more market research into that. But it gives them an inkling while also just pleasing fans. We get to treat it as fan service, they get their market research. It's a win for everybody.
Well, it also is great that we have people who truly love. It's clearly obvious that these people truly love the source material, like nobody's business. You can tell, you can tell that they've done their research, they've done their homework. One of the things I am really surprised to see was that the Grand Inquisitor, spoiler alerts, gets stabbed right off in the beginning, which of course I was confused because a part of me thought like he kind of goes on into like as far as like the Rebels series is concerned, like he plays a pretty grand part in that. So, I mean, now I'm kind of curious as to see like what does it mean to be the Grand Inquisitor now? Is it like someone who's been mutilated so much that they just look like the same dude every time, or like what is it? Like it's. I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe I'm just forgetting some things, forgetting some episodes. Rob, you seem like you might know what I'm talking about.
It's you've got to, unfortunately, you have to treat live action and animation different. In animation, you can get away with more grandiose, wackier ideas. Take Rebels, for example. It's easy, spoiler alert, it's easy to say, hey, we're just gonna put Thrall on a giant space whale and we're gonna send his ass to the other side of the galaxy. On paper, it's a wacky as hell idea. It's insane. Yeah, we're gonna send our villain away after 4 or 5 years, and we're gonna finally send the baddest of baddies, big old space whale. Space whale animation series. You can make that work. There's a logic. There's an understanding when you're watching animation. Going, there are going to be some funny and quirky ideas, but if you're watching a Star Wars film, it has to be something that you can see yourself in. You can't do a space whale, but you can do Jedi Time Portal. You can do, there's various things that
I'm sorry, space whale threw me off. I apologize.
No. Well, no, it's because it's already
no. I know exactly what he's talking about. I know.
They made it canon in Rebels, and they already determined that wasn't the only gate. So you're telling me in the entire span of the original 3, they only built one spot? No. You always build 2, 3, 4. We got the places to go. They find another one. You bring it back. You can get away with more logical ideas. Ideas that people can wrap their head around more. Because you can't think about you and I. You have to think about Joe in Idaho, who loved the first 3 Star Wars, and then all of a sudden they made them for the kids, and I don't know what the heck's going on. They've already got our ticket. They need to get that guy's ticket.
Yeah, and that is true. And I will say that that's the thing about a lot of the animation things. It's like, it's kind of like with a lot of animated shows. I feel like there's a lot of shows out there that have really good writing. The Clone Wars has some really good writing, but unfortunately within those episodes that have really good writing, you also have a lot of really campy things to keep the kids involved, because ultimately it is a children's show. I mean, in a way it is a children's show. So like even Bad Batch, even as dark as it is animated, so it is meant for like a younger, but it's a younger audience, but maybe a little bit older for Clone
bits
Wars.
of like just these different things that if you were to see it in a live action setting, you'd be like, this isn't Star Wars. This is a movie about Star Wars that would potentially be a video game with live action people, maybe. But
now,
everyone would go,
it's pre 2012 Marvel humor.
Yeah,
but also you got to think about, though, Clone Wars actually kept Star Wars alive for a while. It was the only reference for the longest time for Star Wars kept running in general. So campy or not with it, though, you got to think about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Inquisitor, to get like on your point, because I know we kind of digressed a little bit on your point that you were talking about in regards to the Inquisitor, like think he was off immediately going into what's going on. All I have to say is Darth Maul. You got to think about it. Darth Maul was chopped in half and he comes back in a live action and makes appearances in animation. And there's many references that they made in Clone Wars is the fact that things can be canon there. And they made many references that the timeline is actually all over the place there. So hypothetically speaking, with what you're seeing in Obi-Wan makes absolute sense, because they like you said, they're big fans. They're huge fans, and they've been able to connect the whole things together. And, the crazy thing about that too, as well, is you make references to, actually one of the first fight scenes when he's trying to avoid the Inquisitor when he was still alive. Sorry, spoiler. He's actually fighting to the bodyguards in that was at the I guess the bar he's at, and one of the bodyguards happened to be of Darth Maul's race that he's duking it out. But I mean, you're looking at his individual frame and who he is as an individual. It shows once again the fleshed out remembrance of that this is a world of many different creatures. And so it was actually a mixture, making references to that, to characters that were, back to playing bands and instruments from very memorable characters from let's see, the episodes 1, 2, and 3, and going back to episodes technically the original trilogy. So the crazy thing is the fact how, like, I have to agree with you on that, Kenji. It does a lot. I mean, a lot of like homage to fans of the whole series in general. They seem to actually think about it. Like, for example, if you go into, like, I don't want to go back to the Mandalorian per se, but in my opinion, the amount of love that Mandalorian was shown in regards to directing and just the setup for it, everything about it, I think that it seems that they transferred over to Obi-Wan. So I think by all means they're going on the right path.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a great thing that you mentioned directing, because you just set up the perfect segue for the director, Deborah Chow. Like, she's basically helming this entire series, which is great. She gave us episodes.
Among men, just goddess.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just bowing to her directing prowess.
I know she's done amazing work. She's done episodes. She did episodes 3 and 7 on The Mandalorian. She also did an episode on Better Call Saul, American Gods, Mr. Robot. I mean, she's done amazing work, and she's and we've seen through her how she handled the episodes on Mandalorian that she clearly understands the material. Like, even, I don't know if you guys ever saw the behind the scenes footage of her talking about this stuff with like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, but she clearly understands what she's talking about. She clearly understands the source material, and she's also, in a way, kind of, I feel like she's understanding this character of Obi-Wan even more than maybe I possibly ever have.
I think she's a breath of fresh air. I think she's an absolute dream, and I think that outside of Filoni and Favreau, she has the best understanding of these characters and where they're going. I think the only other equivalent to her in terms of directing and shooting and getting Star Wars right is Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yes, she did. Yes, she also did a phenomenal job with her episodes on Mandalorian.
I think short of Filoni, she's that next in the line of just understanding the mythos and getting what it's about.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And it is great to see that we do. I mean, I'm not saying that, not that the previous directors of, like, the new trilogies or anything. Like, I know that there are fans of the new trilogy. I'm talking, 7, 8, 9, that they, that love that they've done, but I'm not trying to, like, dog on anything that people have done in the past or anything like that. But, it is good to see, like, I'm sure that they loved it as well, but these directors, we get to see, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's that they're putting more cameras around, but we get to see this love that these directors clearly have for this. Like, the people that are helming this, love what they are doing. They grew up on this, they understand it. So it is great to see that, they're in good hands. It's like, especially, Dave Filoni, like this guy right here. I actually have a Dave Filoni action figure in my collection. Like, I love this guy so much. He's done such amazing work. But yeah, I mean, also let's talk about the casting, though, like the cast of characters that we have. Obviously, we've got Ewan McGregor back as the main man. I'm sorry. People will argue, but I think he's the greatest character in the Star Wars universe.
It's hard not to like him. I mean, and I'm gonna have to shoot this out here because I almost squealed. You can ask, like, producers. I was like, I almost squealed like a little kid. I was like, is that the guy? Is that Sun Kang? Is that from Fast and Furious? Is it him? And when I saw him, he plays the fifth brother. And I was like, oh my God, that has to be him. And to me, I got hyped up when I see it because I love him and as an actor going in there. And by all means, we're talking about like OG going into, by all means, Ewan McGregor. But what I was impressed with, and it's kind of hard to see, but how they use, I'm looking his name up here. Sorry, Owen Lars. They brought him back. Like the fact that they brought
Joel Edgerton.
Yeah. yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm seeing it's like the same guy, and I'm looking at them together. I'm like, this is.
What's crazy is that episode 2 was kind of like his first, like, quote unquote, big movie in a way. Like, you know, he hadn't really done a whole lot of stuff too much. I mean, but then after that, he got more, obviously, because, you know, you got Star Wars on your resume. So people are going to look at you a little differently. And, but then he's done the movie. I forgot what movie it was, but it was like the MMA movie opposite of Tom Hardy, where he got
plays
like
brother.
jacked. Yeah, he plays his brother. And
oh my god,
duke it out. Like he's
talking about
thing
a
is,
testosterone film move.
Yeah,
Warrior.
Yes, thank you.
That was actually a good film.
That was a great film, and like that's the thing, like it's cool to see that it's like it's almost kind of come full circle that like the character that like kind of in a weird way kind of jump-started his career, he's kind of back at it, but now we're also getting to see him actually really act in the role for it, because like the other time he just was like, oh hey, I guess we're brothers. I really wanted to see you. Your mom's always talked about us, man.
Am I the only one who had catharsis seeing the uncle being just a complete jerk, going, you know what? I'm glad you died. I'm glad you become barbecue. You are great.
Oh God, hey. Have you seen the robot chicken bit where it's like the little orphan? He's like, he shows up with his like mom wrapped up, and he just like whispers, "What?" He says, "No, I guess," he says, "You really are a little orphan Annie now." It's like, how could you say that? I'm literally holding her. And then like, and it goes through a bunch of skits later, and then it shows like Owen Lars right before he gets burned. He goes, "Oh, by the way, Lord Vader says, now you can laugh about the little orphan Annie joke."
Oh my god.
You could tell that son of a bitch it was funny then, and it was funny now.
Oh god.
Like it is cool seeing like it is cool to kind of see like this side of Owen though as well, from the performance from Joel Edgerton, because we see like he's not just a crotchety old like uncle. Like we see that like he is kind of a crotchety old uncle, but he's crotchety because he's trying to like prevent, because as far as he knows, as far as everybody knows, except
basically he knows that this guy raised Space Hitler.
Well, remember, he thinks that he's dead. Everyone thinks that Anakin's dead. They don't realize that.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it would be, this guy, you just killed your own son, basically.
Yeah, you killed your own brother, dude. Like, you killed your own brother, and now you're gonna basically kill what's essentially your nephew. No, I'm not gonna let you go down the same path that could potentially, it's like stop sneaking in models of a T-14 Skyhopper into my freaking into this boy's room. God damn it.
It's interesting. What's also interesting is this. You would think from Obi-Wan, he's so stoic that this wouldn't have affected him. And in the fact that what the show is doing is showing his humanity. It's showing the fact that he is just a man.
Yeah. Absolutely.
At the end of the day, he's just a guy, and he is trying to figure out. That's why he's going like Qui-Gon, "Come on, please, dude, I really need some help here because I'm just a guy." And that's really fascinating in a world where all we've seen is Jedi to be godlike and just astounding, and oh my god. And for one Jedi to be like, "No, dude, I'm just a dude, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell I got to do next."
Well, I think that's the transitioning from that point, Rob, too. It's kind of it's very, very apparent of like, if you ever like watch, like I said, if you've seen any other kind of series along with his Clone Wars or episodes 1, 2, or 3, the path of his development of where he's at right now, talking about like a hero's journey. Holy shit. Like, I mean, the concept, you hit the nail on the head. It is the development of who he is, because, being in episode 1, 2, and 3, him being the, unsure, just out of, Padawan concept, being the new into, the Jedi life. And most people, in my opinion, now this is going to be where I'm going to insert my opinion here. Most people join the Jedi to find a higher purpose, and a purpose that's, beyond themselves. And, you have this entity that exists to be essentially like a walking special force unit that believes in like supernatural spirituality, and they go around, pretty much quelling shit that doesn't need to be happening, right? And everybody thinks, okay, Jedi comes in, they're the greatest thing in existence. But you see in reality, they're just unfortunately attached to government entities. So when something else comes up and happens, the rest are executed. So here's a man that has grown up knowing that the Jedi way is the way, and now he's questionable way or not because he has Anakin. He loses him to Vader at this point in his life. And now when execute order, so that 60 order came out, and every single Jedi alive is being slaughtered. And not to do spoilers, but evidently some Jedi also switched sides. So you have all this stuff that's happening, and now he's just done. And the fact that he turned away that other Jedi on the episode, I was like, holy shit, he really wants nothing to do with him. He literally was like, go, run away. I don't know what you're talking about. And that is so different than what he was in previous things. There was no, any way, shape, or form would he turn his back on somebody. He would have made like a snarky joke, a comment, and like decided, all right, fuck it, we might die, let's do this. But at this point, like you said, I think he finally attaches himself. He's human being. He might die. And I think that the fact that he also doesn't like the Jedi, if that makes sense. I really think in this point in my life, he might believe in the Force, but not necessarily the entity. But that's what I get from him right now.
Oh, absolutely.
No, I think if we were to ever see a gray Jedi, they were to ever turn someone gray, this is the time they would do it. This is the character they would do it. Someone who says, I hate this, but I'm going to use this ability for my benefit.
For sure.
That'd be gnarly.
Absolutely. I'm actually going to move on to another character. We have Reva, like I believe that's the second sister, no, the third sister, and
yes,
like she is basically kind of an unknown. Like she basically was in Queen's Gambit, and then she was in Ambulance, the recent Michael Bay film. But other than that, like this is kind of like one of her. This is like kind of like her third like real like I guess big name like blockbuster like name to be attached to, and like she's so far doing an amazing job. I feel like she's kind of she's kind of
I really
creating
I want to know more about her character.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we understand that she wants to become the new Vader. We see like that kind of like drive that's for her, but like it's also I would love to see like what her story is, because we got to see a little bit of Order 66 at the beginning, and I feel like I just feel like there's going to be an episode somewhere down the line where we're going to probably see a little baby Grogu somewhere. I just know it.
I was about to say that. Did you guys get that vibe from that whole scene? Because like, remember the scene in The Mandalorian towards the end where he literally has that PTSD moment, and he remembers being held on somebody's back, and you see the clone troopers firing at shit and like the sabers going back and forth. I'm wondering if, like you just said, if that was a moment like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it also is
because he's old. He's really freaking old.
Yeah, exactly. So we also see that, so like it could very easily happen, but yeah, I'm really excited to see where Reva's story is, because we do know that the Inquisitors were like, even in not in expanded lore, Rob, you could back me up on this, but like Rebels, like they talk about how like they would literally use like the Jedi holocrons to like steal like Force sensitive kids from parents, and then they would grow them into like new Inquisitors and stuff. So like,
the Inquisitor program it's lethal. It was some stupid statistic that one of the stat books, one of the behind the scenes books, it was something like only like 10% of kids who actually go through the Inquisitor program actually live and survive it. It's like a complete and rigorous, because it's you either do it or you fail and die, and they just kill you, and you're like, okay, next kid, let's go. It's so exciting to see a new big bad, an exciting new big bad. We had that with Moff Gideon, and we finally have another big bad in the TV universe, and that's really exciting. For once, we actually have a Star Wars film where there are multiple bads that create multiple storylines that we can all enjoy all at once.
Yeah, and speaking of multiple bads, Alejandro, you mentioned earlier Sung Kang as the third. Is it the fifth brother or the third
brother?
Third brother. Okay, there's so many numbers.
Hold on, I'm being corrected here. I think Producer Steph got it correct. Hold on one second here. The fifth brother. I'm sorry. Yes.
The fifth. Yeah, I got it. All right. So the fifth brother. First of all, like he first started off really in a very early, Justin Lin movie, and then he ends up becoming like a character in the Fast and Furious series, and like that kind of was like his only thing for a while, was like those two franchises in a way, and according to Justin Lin, they're actually the same character. So like you're kind of like, okay. So he's basically been saying the same character for his entire career in a weird way. I mean, at least I don't know. He probably has grander credits overseas and stuff, but like as far as like, I feel like as far as American audiences, really only known from like the Fast and Furious movies.
100%. His biggest breakout was to me, in my opinion, in a visual concept or anything, was Ninja Assassin, Better Luck Tomorrow. Stuff like this. These were like the earlier stuff before, but there's a lot more too. I'm just looking at this list. I want to go into it, but you're right. He has a lot of the Fast and Furious was his like.
Yeah. Thing. So like to see him in like another big staple like franchise like this, and also playing a character that's nothing like what he's really played before. Like he's playing, like I know him as like this guy who, he's a guy who has an oral fixation with snacks because he can't quit smoking, and he's just this really cool guy that you just meet in Tokyo, and he teaches you how to drift, like that's who this guy was. So to see him like it's like this menacing character, like I'm really hoping that we get to see more of him. I hope he's not just kind of like a side character, we get to see more of him.
Yeah, just his presence about him. That's his thing too. I mean, like, I'm sorry, what?
I'm hoping we see him in Ahsoka, something like. Hope he bleeds over out. But no, you were saying?
No, totally. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, that's the crazy thing about him. And I think in regards to if there's any actor out there, and the fact that they are broadening the Star Wars universe with these what I, in my opinion, A-list actors coming in. I mean, because you got to think about it. The Raven coming in, Queen's Gambit. If you watch that, she's a strong freaking actress on that dang show. She came in here with vengeance. And I think as I recognized her face, I just didn't know where from. I can't tell you immediately. It's like, oh, she's from the Queen's Gambit. I looked at Steph and I was like, this woman's a badass. I don't know who she is. I want to know who she is. Like, part of me thinks there's something hidden behind. Like, I got a feeling that there's a connection to Obi-Wan and her. The reason why she wants it done so badly. I mean, she, like you said, she offed the Inquisitor, and I say off, but I think something's behind that.
She stabs him.
Yeah, exactly. I think something that's gonna, rear end coming in with that, weird ugly head. And what's that?
What I think is gonna happen is the next episode she's gonna say that Obi-Wan killed him, and that this is why she needs to lead the platoon. She's the only one strong enough and capable enough. She had him in he was in her grasp, and that's why I'm gonna go after her.
That's fair. I mean, that's a very fair point, because she sounds to be against the whole, follow
Obi-Wan
the rules.
stabbed her with his lightsaber, that filthy Jedi. Oh no!
That makes sense. That makes sense. But I really do hope he has more of appearance, though. I mean, back to talking about, because I like, oh my god, to me, it just seemed the like 3 or 4 lines. I mean, the fact that he has more than that, the many moments where he scolded her in the alleyway, the moment where he's like, trying to keep her check in line when she's questioning the Inquisitor herself, so the fact that he has that presence, has that in the Enforcer vibe, I hope he will continue to be a constant presence in the universe. Because yes, I must also too, because like the Fast and Furious thing introduced me to him, even though it was like Ninja Assassin, because like he was a nice guy in the Fast and Furious. I just thought he was just a nice guy. I was like, he's a nice guy. He's like little gray zone, doing shady shit, but he likes you. And so, and honestly, the whole food thing's hilarious, because I started doing some like personal monologues myself with food, because I picked it up from him. I was like, I like that. I want to eat a bag of stuff. I want to eat a bag of Cheetos so I can do a monologue. But anyway, no, I really hope he is a dominant character in there. If not, it was really cool to have him. I hope this gives a hint to the producers and the Disney Empire and Star Wars alike, that bring out more diverse characters, bring out more expansion. Yes, some are going to be hit or miss, but I think you'll get a lot more positive responses than you expect.
Well, speaking of expansions and like expanding on characters, maybe producer Stephanie can look this up for me, what her name is. But the girl that they have, first of all, I thought this was going to be a story more about young Luke a little bit, because we only got to see young Luke in the trailers, but to see this is a story actually about young Leia, and the actress that the young actress that they got for young Leia, I think is doing a phenomenal job. A 10-year-old
Oh my
Leia.
God, I love that little girl. I love that little
Oh,
girl.
so good. Like,
I'm trying to look up her.
That little darling. I just love her so much.
They're working on it right now.
Yeah, it's like I was shocked. Like I was like, first of all, this show took so many, like, is taking risks, is taking, like, making these great decisions, I feel like, story wise. And, like, we're seeing this part of, like, this young Leia, and we're seeing how, like, this
Got
girl
her name
is.
for you.
Oh yes,
Vivian Lyra Blair.
Vivian Lyra Blair.
But she's very she doesn't have much information on her.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't expect her to. She's
Am I
what,
incorrect?
10? She's 10. Like, I hope there
She's
isn't
got a
that much
couple of things,
information
but
on
they're
her.
all
She's
just
10.
a lot of them are all minor stuff.
Yeah, like, but, like, there's but yeah, but she's doing a phenomenal job. Like, this is gonna open up so many doors for her.
Everything about her.
But hold on. Whoa, that's where I recognized her from. 1 second here. Before we say, she has more than a dozen acting credits under her name, though. So the most recent ones right now are being Bird Box, We Can Be Heroes, and Waco. So Bird Box, she was a girl. So she was young girl.
Okay.
So I mean, so she did, like I said, her early appearances and stuff have been, like, obviously small child roles, but they've been, like, the big ones have been, Netflix with Bird Box, and definitely Waco. We Can Be Heroes is definitely one, so.
She was able to show quite a mature performance in Bird Box. So, like, I first of all, I can't believe I didn't recognize her. But, like,
oh no, I producer Seth hooked us up. I was looking up some information as well. I got her name. I just get the stats here. But oh yes, I didn't forget that because I was nerding out. She also said she was Shark Girl's daughter in We Can Be Heroes. So she okay, that makes a lot more sense. There's some, I was like, okay, she looks familiar. I didn't know where she's from by all means, but that now, like, makes a lot more sense.
Got it. Okay. All right. Like, okay, so this girl clearly has done some pretty awesome stuff. So clearly she's got the ability, but she's actually doing an amazing job as young Leia. And, and to be also honest, I'm also so happy that they didn't try to just be like, oh, now we're gonna put a young Carrie Fisher face on the actress. Like, we were doing that with Luke, so maybe I was so.
That's
I'm
when
so
I would
glad
have
they
changed
didn't.
it. I'd have just been like, no, that's not my Star Wars. That's not my particular brand of vodka. I'm gonna detach myself right here.
Oh, I mean, I will say though, it is great that we're getting these performances, we're getting these stories, and despite these, like, mature tones, like, like, I feel like, it is still inherently a Star Wars film. You know what I mean? It still feels like Star Wars, because I feel like, sometimes when you watch some of these other Star Wars films, like, I know that there are times sometimes I'm watching it and sometimes I go, this doesn't. It feels weird to say, but sometimes I feel like, this doesn't feel like the same, like the old 1997 film did. And
the difference between what you can get away with in animated and what feels like Star Wars and what you can get away with in cinema, you got it. There's a certain level in cinema you need to make me believe on why I am accepting this as a plausible outcome and making me okay with that feeling.
Oh, absolutely.
It either sits there or it doesn't. We can see it. Holiday special really doesn't. Mandalorian.
Wait, hold on. Wait, which holiday special are we talking about? There's two of them now.
Holiday special, because the Lego holiday special is a magical treasure that we must protect at all costs.
I actually should check it out. I haven't seen it yet. Like, because I have like, I start having non-flashbacks of, like, the old holiday special. Like, I actually, anybody who's actually seen it will say that you don't really need to watch it more than once.
No. I put that on for people who come over that I hate, so that way they'll leave quicker.
Damn.
They're like, you guys see all of it?
It's like, this is canon. This is totally canon.
Really?
Guys, check out. It's totally canon.
5 minutes later.
Rough.
Well, I mean, they did.
Oh, you're leaving? Sorry. Oh.
Well, I mean,
See you next time.
people are they're trying to argue that holiday special is not canon, but they also inherently ultimately have, though, because they've been selling Life Day merch at Disneyland around Christmas time. So
You can do it even a step further. They can't get rid of it. Why? Because it's the first introduction of Boba Fett.
yeah,
That is literally the first time we ever see Boba Fett. Do whatever they want. Freaking Boba Fett is a critical part of the storyline and the universe as a whole, so can't get rid of it even if they wanted to.
and of course, look how much that character has evolved at this point too. Which I'm actually curious to see if we may possibly see a young Boba in this, because because I feel like this where we're going, where Obi-Wan is going, he's going to like the criminal underbelly, like the gross, nasty parts of the Star Wars universe. It's like we've seen him as this knight in shining armor, basically this extremely OP character. Like, for all intents and purposes, he's OP as hell. But like, especially when he has the high ground. But like, but we are seeing him like,
underestimate my power.
Don't try it. Oh man, but we're gonna see Obi-Wan essentially kind of being like, in this weird way, this father figure to Leia. It also kind of gives us this cool insight as to possibly why Leia even reached out to Obi-Wan in the first place in episode 4. Like, I love that where this is all going. Like the fact that where we are in the story, because we're going to be going through such a deep, nasty underbelly, we could very well see Cad Bane again. We can very well see young Boba Fett. I honestly would love to see young Boba Fett again, personally. Like, just like ultra prime in his time, like Jango Fett level, like
you want
young
to see
Boba
like a
Fett.
Boogie Nights Boba Fett going down on the town.
I mean, hypothetically speaking, we could see
Boba Fett cut loose on a Friday night.
He's getting high on death sticks, and then like you piss him off, and he just shoots you underneath the table.
Well, hypothetically speaking, it's the
is he
same
gonna
era
do
that
it? I don't
Death
know.
Watch existed and stuff of that nature too. So any form of the Mandalorian lore, whether it be him, and then also you got to think about clone troopers and so forth. That definitely is very possible. I mean, there's
Also,
anything they can interject in there if they want to.
Also, if you notice, between Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, we're already connecting the two universes when they present spice, the mythical drug of the Star Wars universe. And the fact that what we're seeing in Obi-Wan is the inkling of that spice starting to roll out. What we're seeing in Boba Fett is the universal wide, starting to destroy system by system planetary destruction from spice. I'm always curious. That's 2 major films they're starting to incorporate that element into. 1, that's a coincidence. 2, you guys are trying to press something. There's some kind of importance in that.
It's an allegory about drugs. I mean, honestly, I mean, let's face it. Spice, for all intents and purposes, is like, it's like the ultra cocaine. We should be probably not be saying it, but it's the ultra white powder of, it's ultra space powder. It's space powder is what it is. It's space booger sugar is what it is. All right, so like, honestly, what do you even do with spice? Do we know? Like,
yeah,
is actually,
remember
they inhale it.
Obi-Wan
They inhale it. Okay, yeah,
it's
that's how you inhale
similar
it.
To, like, remember Judge Dredd when you took the slow-mo and just it's supposed to be like that, where it's just you breathe it in, you're just whoo.
That's totally absolutely right. I can't believe I brain farted on that. But speaking of inhaling,
no, it's because they don't. It's not in huffing format like the whole time. They're only mining it so much.
Yeah, I feel like in some scenes, I feel like in some, isn't it like in isn't like Jabba like smoking a spice pipe at one point in Return of the Jedi or something like that?
That's what they allude to. That pipe that he's smoking. It's people who are EU purists point to that as like, it's an unintentional nod because they were still writing the initial books in between Empire and Return. So here we're gonna say that this pipe is a spice pipe.
Nice. But I would say that, like, speaking of, like, we were talking about people who are like about inhaling and stuff. Freaking, I totally forgot about Flea's cameo
Oh my
as
god, please.
as the kidnapper. Like, first of all, it's always great to see Flea doing anything, and when he gets to be wild and wacky, we love him when he's wild and wacky. I
And
mean,
his
I don't know.
demise. I was like, no.
Oh, I
Earlier,
know.
I just put on the first episode for my girlfriend, and she literally started watching it, and then Flea comes up. She didn't say anything, and I'm like, and before you say anything, yes, it is Flea. She's like, I thought that looked like him. And then that summed up all of our reactions. It was just like, no, no.
Like, when he first reveals himself to like Obi-Wan, I was really like, I gotta make this a meme, but like, I just want a picture of him from like Back to the Future Part 2 just going, hey, how's it hanging, Kenobi?
Right?
As Needles the boss.
Exactly.
Like, it's so, I mean, it's so great to see that they're giving, like, it's like I said, like, it's so, he's when he gets to play wild and wacky, he really is wild and wacky.
Oh yeah,
And
no, it's like Bill Burr. It's just like, once you give him a character he can dig into, he can just we can have the first Boston man in space.
Actually, that is something my friend Brian, the Wayward Scientist, he mentions. He said, but Bill Burr implies is that there's space Boston. There's a planet full of space Boston out there.
Oh, yeah,
space Bostonians. Just what the fuck you doing? Get the fuck out of here!
Off world, go back over to the Jersey planet. It's around the corner on the other system.
Get that gun out of my face! You get that gun out of my face!
And yes, and that is what is the most terrifying thought.
I'm flying here.
What I'm hoping
God.
is we get to see Grogu had to have had some kind of training or something. He was able to do things in a way that was faster than anyone, including Rey. So I think Obi-Wan could have been that point. It makes very much sense that you would be like, hey, I want to try and develop these programs, but I can't trust a larger system like the Jedi Order, so I'm going to develop these little projects and kind of help out with these, and we're going to try and build the Jedi out that way.
Actually, you know what?
Because he saw firsthand the fall of the Jedi Order, building up these temples and just gathering everyone into one spot. He's like, no, we need to divide and conquer.
Actually, that would be an interesting thing to see if there actually is a moment where in this new series, like you mentioned, like maybe there's a moment where, because when we find Grogu in Mandalorian, he's held captive by a bunch of like thugs and stuff, basically a bunch of, people who have been like trading him around like illegally. So with that being that alone, it's like maybe there's going to be a moment where Obi-Wan's going to have to make a tough choice between saving Grogu or saving Leia.
It makes sense. He's 383 years old.
I mean, there could be a moment where he has to be like, shoot, I can't. Sorry, and he has to go with Leia because he has his friend has, because ultimately in the grander scheme of things, of who Leia is, he has to. But like that would be I feel like if they actually make that kind of a bridge connection, that would actually be great. Honestly, personally,
I would love them to. Let's hope the powers of Kathleen Kennedy allow them to do such a wonderful thing for their fans.
Well, I feel like, first of all, I also was a little bit irked because Kathleen Kennedy came out and said, we are no longer recasting younger versions of legacy characters. And then we straight up see 10-year-old Princess Leia. And I was like, I thought you, no, never mind. I'm not going to, look, she's great. Okay, she's great. But it was,
it's its own thing. It's its own thing.
Yeah, it's its own thing. I will say that it does seem like she's kind of doing the right thing now, where she's kind of like not really. Remember, because earlier I feel like in earlier, like the new stuff, it was like, it was all about like, like it's like there was a lot of like studio meddling. I feel like, with the stories, because you can clearly see that that's what episode 9 is damage control. But like but it's cool to see that now, like the producers are just kind of being like, look, here's all the toys. Have fun with the toys. And we are doing some awesome shit with the toys. Like there are some really cool things happening with the toys, and I am so excited. I
still need to figure out how to get my Dave Filoni action figure.
Oh man, like
I need to get a Dave Filoni. I need a Dave Filoni for my collection.
Oh,
Alex, you see these things?
No, I can't. I don't think I have.
So Favreau begged and pleaded with Filoni, going, dude, hey, you know what? I want you on the show. I want you on the show. And Filoni's going, why? And he's like, if you're on the show, then we can get you an action figure. And I think it would be hilarious to have a Dave Filoni action figure.
Oh my god!
So we started.
Is that 1/12? Is that a 6-inch?
This is a 6-inch, yes, and that is a
Dave Filoni action figure.
Oh my god, he has a removable freaking fighter pilot. Oh my god!
Yeah, like, and honestly,
when did that come out?
This was last year's May the 4th, I think.
Because they're about to come out with a George Lucas Stormtrooper.
I know. I'm very excited.
I didn't realize that was out.
I'm trying to get my hands on it.
I'm a little jealous now. Shit.
Yeah. I just wish it came with a cowboy hat, honestly.
That'd be cool.
Get one. You can always like 3D print one.
I definitely can. Well, I am so excited that we were able to do this. Like, I'm so glad we were able to do this. This was my first time. I feel like it was a little bit rocky at times for me, and I apologize. This was my first time, but I'm glad if you guys. It seems like we did pretty good though. It seems like we crashed. We landed this bucket, as Han would say. Speaking of landing this bucket, talk about the number of times that guy's had no control in this plane.
Hey, any landing's a good landing.
if you walk away from it, it's a great landing.
If you can get back up from it, it's a good landing.
Oh man. So what do you before we go, just a quick 1-minute splurb. Rob, where can we find you on social media?
Find me. I am producer_Rob on Instagram. You can follow me in my random ramblings about conventions and other nerdy things.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Alejandro, where can we find you?
You can find me on IAMCOWIE. I am Cowie on Instagram. I post daily shenanigans, acting content, and all that good stuff.
Awesome. You can, and as for me, I am Kenji. You can find me at Kenjinator on Instagram and on TikTok and on Twitch, the Kenjinator. And on Sundays, usually at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I am part of a D&D podcast where my father is the DM, and I play a Witcher, essentially, in the campaign, and it's pretty awesome. You should check it out. We are at K as in kangaroo, D as in David, INLA on Twitch, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is on Sundays. Once again, this is also the Nom Talk Network. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week for the next episode of Obi-Wan. I personally won't be here, but we will be having a mystery guest filler instead. I wonder who it will be. We don't know yet. No, seriously, I don't know who it is. Anyways, thanks so much for joining us. Once again, I am Kenji, Alejandro, and Rob. May the force be with you. You have a good night.